Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the M.A.P. We are moving from podcast Libsyn platform into YouTube video. So, welcome to CoMA. These are the CoMA kids here presently, and I'm really super excited because I've been visualizing this for a while now. And these guys are finally here with me. This is Chi. Chi, if you want to introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Chi. I have been here at CoMA for a few weeks now, and it's amazing. I do a lot of things. I teach yoga. I love holding space and guiding and just connecting and loving people. I love horses. I'm helping Eve with her horses here, which is amazing.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Andes.
Hello, I'm Andes. This is so weird. Currently a nomad, traveling around looking for a new home. So I was in a community before, but it didn't work out. So Eve opened her home and arms to me. Yeah, that's all I want to say right now.
So the Mystic Arts podcast, the M.A.P, is for mystics and seekers and artists to come together and talk about what we're passionate about and how we can use this platform to all come together. So at CoMA now we have been doing a lot of equestrian work, as she was talking about with the horses. We've been doing a lot of tattooing, and there was a large group that just came through, and now it's calmed down. I do these once a week. So, let's pull some cards. We'll start with the CoMA cards, which has not been introduced on video. This is the numerology guidance card deck by Michelle Bouchnan. I got them when Sophie was just a baby, and they have been CoMA's words. Let's see what she has to say.
What are you pulling for? Or just
Let's see what CoMA has to say.
about anything?
Yeah, what does she want to say? She's on camera.
Alright. Almost on camera.
Moderation.
That one keeps coming up.
It does keep coming up a lot. What do you guys think about the number? Well, 14 would be 5, which is interesting because when I picked up this tablet to do this, it was 55%, and I timed it for 55 minutes. So 5 is an interesting number. It's an in-between number,
Yeah.
a balanced number.
And I guess moderation kind of has the energy of balance to me. Moderation is basically like balance.
Being moderate. What about with our resources? You know? We do have a practice of feeling the abundancy of resources. But at the same time, I think in the present moment, moderation of our resources is a very powerful practice. Just taking what you need and no more than what you need, and sharing the excess. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying that the other day, like coming to CoMA, it's been so powerful for many reasons. One of the reasons is like how we don't use as much trash here, and like I don't have any waste. The horses eat all the fruits, and the food waste just goes into the forest. So that kind of reminds me of that, and that's what maybe CoMA is saying. Like I'm really grateful for that, for CoMA teaching me that, and I really feel like I'm making a difference just by doing that. Here, it feels so good because we were talking about it yesterday. Like that's all you can really do is just work on yourself and do the right thing yourself. So Yeah, it's cool.
I think of fine tuning when it comes to moderation, and I think that's all of us in this space trying to find, like, tune into each other in just the correct frequency to approach, to say something, to just communicate and harmonize more and more. And so it always feels like them tuning in, tuning in, even with the horses and with the cow and even with the mosquitoes, tuning into, all right, like, you know, I'll just try to catch it and tell it to fuck off and then let it go. You know? And it's definitely like a throat chakra practice for me. Yeah, to be aware of when to speak and when not to speak, and when to say something and stand up for myself, and when not to, and just be with awareness, and it'll like settle down on its own, stuff like that.
I think a lot about this space is it's kind of like my experiment in bringing the most sensitive loners together in the smallest space possible and see if we can all get along and do magic. Let's see, let's pull another card. Financial discipline. Again, this one is also all over the place. 48, 3. And you know, the woman that wrote it says a lot about, you know, being careful about spending and stuff. Being disciplined with your finances. But as Anda said yesterday, she feels like the card is telling her not to feel the energy of lack. Scarcity.
Yeah.
And I feel like something, like I always feel very strongly that I'm doing a lot of work, like reprogramming the way I think, that I've been taught by my parents and just like society and stuff. And I think financially, like that scarcity, lack mindset in so many aspects, but especially financially, is one of the biggest things. Like lack, scarcity, like, oh, you always have to be making money, and this is about everything is about money, and like just lack, scarcity in general. So that's one of like the main things that I'm kind of moving my relationship around with.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel blessed being here because you don't have to pay rent or your nights, so you just pay your food.
What?
And
$1,000 a week.
Right? In some places. Yeah, and it's just your income is literally you in the sense of food and any other things you want to buy and going out. So I haven't spent a lot and I haven't spent a little because I've been learning to just flow with the money and feel where it wants to go too, and it wants to go where I want, like it wants to meet me halfway, and then money will keep flowing back. And it's always it's a graceful dance once you understand it's a dance with money.
Yeah, a lot of talk with money being energy. And yes, it's a piece of paper or sometimes a little bit plasticky, but it has so much energy in it. I mean, when like we pick up these cards and we charge it, we charge our crystals, we charge things that we touch. When you think about money, the physical money, it goes through so many hands. How many people are elated when that money comes into them? They're like, oh yes, money, you know.
Or to give it away and they're like,
Yeah.
But it's like, just like anything, everything's a frequency, and you can attract anything and everything with how you vibrate. So it's like, if you're vibrating at the scarcity, like, oh, I shouldn't spend money, or I don't have enough money, or like, I need to make money, like, it's not gonna come to you the same as if you're open and like release attachment, but still manifesting. Like money is just like anything else.
It's true. Being disciplined, Saturn, with your money. I knew what was gonna come out about it. Just said something. 6, love.
Community.
Community. Love is the fabric that holds everything together.
Yeah, the love card kind of feels like it's just like an open hole, like, because the card's there and it's like, what is love? Everything, the love is just everything, you know?
The number 6
Yeah.
is a beautiful number too.
Love is so important. I think for me, it's always remembering that, you know, everyone has a different way of communicating, of being, of interacting, but to a certain extent, it's all coming from love, and maybe they don't do it correctly, but it's still coming from love, and it's seeing the innocence in everyone's nature, whether it's triggering or not.
I have felt a lot recently that CoMA is diving into being a temple for the inner child. And every time I do our vocal toning and we work on the chakra, when we get to the heart chakra, that unconditional love makes me think of the love of a child, where, you know, you remember loving your friends, like it was just love, just unconditional. It didn't matter what it was. But then, you know, my experience with Sophie, my 6-year-old daughter too, like it can turn to hate like that.
Yeah, but even then there's still love there.
There's
like,
still
because
love.
it's the balance. Like, I wrote this poem that was like, there's no corner of existence where love is not present. Even if it doesn't seem like love is everywhere. And that's something that's cool to me. People think of love as like, oh, love, rainbows and butterflies. Like, love is so much more than that. Yeah, love is really everything. And it's what connects us all, you know. Every being feels love, even if they're not really aware of it. It's there somewhere, you know. It's just, to me, it's like the strongest force in all of creation is love.
For sure.
It connects us all.
Love is light.
I
In
think
love.
Sophie sees it as rainbow and butterflies. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, she's 6. So I
She's
guess that
6.
makes sense. Yeah, she's 6.
Andres, you want to pull some of those cards? See where they land.
These cards are so cool.
Archetype cards by the one and only Kim Kranz.
Love them. They look like diamonds on one side. The art is beautiful. I just don't like round cards. I can't.
I love round cards.
I don't. They don't shuffle.
So CoMA for
I like
CoMA?
how you shuffle them. However you want to do it. We're witches.
Alright, CoMA, anything you want to speak of in this podcast? Take that one. The poet.
Words.
The unseen, the desert.
She's gonna read.
I don't know if I want to read, but
I can read it if you want me to.
yeah. You can read it too. Who wants to read it?
The poet.
The poet.
I already feel this one a lot because I'm actually writing a poetry book. And that's something that CoMA is helping me with because that's a very complicated process for me. And CoMA's helping me. So let's see what the poet means for all of us. Poet says the artist, the witness, the truth teller. The poet's work is to feel immensely and not be afraid. They must seek out truth in the darkest corners of the world and carry it back for all to see. This unique capacity resides within us all, regardless of our relationship to creativity. When the poet energy is present, there is a call for deep honesty and reflection, for seeing the big picture within the little one. The poet rides effortlessly between the personal and universal. It's possible others may not seem to listen or care about the poet's work, but do not be discouraged. The words of the poet ring true for centuries to come, soothing the wounds of despair and violence that captivate our world. The poet's work is never finished. Find your voice and trust that the wind will carry it. Wow, that gave me goosebumps. It says the poet is related to the shaman and the bridge. These archetypes hover in the meeting place between the everyday and the sacred. It is likely there is a poem or poet that was meaningful to you at a young age. Revisit and reread it now. Be open to its message. That's a really good message. I think I really agree with that, because when I started writing a poetry book, someone was like, oh, what poets inspired you to write a poetry book? And I was like, I don't really know, but I don't really know what poets like I ever read. But then I remembered that I read this one poetry book by Shel Silverstein when I was younger. That was like the only poetry book I ever read.
Good.
And I loved it. I read it like every night before bed, and then I went back and read it now. And I was like, wow, and I actually realized that a lot of my poems kind of were like inspired by that book, but I didn't even know.
Yeah. That's cool. My brother, I have an older brother, he's 2 years older, and he was a poet, and I remember he wrote a lot of poems. They were very deep and dark, but I remember when he was hitchhiking and being a hitchhiking hippie, he made little booklets, little poetry booklets, and printed it out, folded them, stapled them together, and would pass them out, and I just thought that was just the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I think poetry is so important. Like, I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I wish I could write poems and stuff, and it's much like art. Like, a lot of people are like, I wish I could draw, or I wish I could paint. And we really all can, especially poems. Like, poetry, you can literally put together like 5 words and just put them, and that's a poem. And
it's
people,
art with words.
And you can express yourself so much and like let go of so much of that like perfectionism and stuff, making a poem that's like beetle, guitar, sky, me. Like, that's a poem. You know?
Totally.
But like, and that just, it can create so much for you, and then someone else can get something from that. Yeah.
So what's the other one?
The unseen.
What else?
In the bag.
Oh,
The eyeball, the
Should I read?
unseen.
Read this one too?
As we're being seen on YouTube, we see you.
Wow, I feel like this kind of goes with poet too. The unseen is the spirit, the ancestor, the eternal. The unseen is just as it sounds. We cannot see it, yet it sees us, watching and waiting, with wisdom both kind and instructive. We feel this presence, sense it, intuit it, and then doubt its existence. Though it rallies our attention time and time again. The energy of the unseen may come in many forms. A compelling dream, a sudden insight, a clear voice, a vision, or a message from a loved one who has passed to the other side. It is natural to fear these communications, as they challenge our perception of what is real. When this card appears, your guides are near. The eternal is present. The doorway between worlds is ajar. Listen. The sounds may seem as though they come from a distant land, but they call from your innermost chambers. It says guidance comes in many forms. Don't expect it to be glittery or comfortable. The spirit world speaks the truth. Sometimes it soothes and sometimes it burns.
Word.
Wow. This is a nice little poem. Being graced by the unseen is a gift. Treat it kindly. Allow yourself to be seen by eternal eyes.
You know, I've been doing a lot of studying about the description of angels in the Bible and in a lot of different Jewish texts, and it literally is just a shit ton of eyeballs, sometimes on wings. Sometimes it looks like this, like, the way they describe it is like this atom with a center eye with a bunch of rotating eyes going around it.
Yeah.
Like, the eyes are really powerful.
Yeah. It's cool that this is a card, because just last night I started saying, I heard one of my friends say, like, give thanks for what we're aware of and what we're not aware of. So then I started saying that, and I said, give thanks for the seen and for the unseen. So this is just pretty cool. And I feel like that's something that we can all work on, is like trusting. Like it says, we question, what does it say? We question its existence, doubt its existence. Like, even for me, like, so when I hear things, like, the other day I was talking to cats, and then I heard a cat meow, and I was like, oh, that must have been in my head. You know, like, we doubt it still, so it's good practice for us all to trust our intuition and you know that it's so much more than what we see physically.
And it's interesting because I do, as a Libra, because I'm also been very much a seer. I see visions and all kinds of things. But I learned at the Tara Mandala, the Buddhist Retreat Center, that it is and it isn't at the same time. And that just freed me up to be like, I am seeing what I'm seeing, but I'm also not seeing what I'm seeing at the same time. That little bit of a doubt sometimes can check you. And then your intuition is like, no, that was real. No, that really happened.
Yeah, that's cool. It is and it isn't. It's like duality, because everything is always going to have like the opposite. So if it is, it also isn't.
At the same time, exactly.
And that's like when you try to say, is this like this? And you're like, well, I mean, really everything is like everything. So yeah, but no. Yeah.
Makes me think of something I said to a friend once, and it resonated with her when I said, because she was like, does it have meaning if I think this and this and this, or is this important? What do you think? And I said, it has meaning if you want it to have meaning. So it's like these visions. It's like, if it's impactful, then it can be very meaningful. But if it was just a random vision, then just accept it as a random vision or a play of the mind or imagination. Yeah, but if it has meaning,
it is what you want it to be.
We make meaning of everything. Like everything is our perception. We perceive like this could. I could make this totally, this right now, not meaningful at all, any of this. Or I could choose to make it meaningful. Like, it's not always a conscious choice, and things are much more like strong, but it's always our perception, the way we perceive things.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
The desert?
The desert.
The desert. Wow.
It's on the next page, actually.
Yeah.
Of the unseen.
Next one.
The desert. Which one was the poet? The drought, the wasteland, the badlands. The desert leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. For endless miles we are confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal, to become animated by the simple pleasantries of day-to-day life. The desert offers no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, knowing you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. If lights are blindingly bright, and its dark, terrifying deep, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truths reside in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, and the coyotes call, surround you. Let the winds and sands work their deep magic, weary traveler. Wow. When in the throes of the desert, contemplate the following. You are not alone. You have more supplies with you than you think. Water is very near. Wow. This one is... It says the desert is alive and pulsating with energy despite its desolate appearance. Turn toward it rather than away from it.
I keep seeing the Doors.
What doors?
The band, the Doors in the desert with that video. I'm not gonna sing it, but it just makes me think of like just going out in the desert, tripping balls, and seeing the unseen.
Yeah.
And writing the poetry, like all of it is like, oh my god.
And the poet really goes with this too, because the poet was talking about finding that light and finding that truth in like the deep shadow parts, and that's what this is saying too. Like the desert is like our shadows, kind of like where we just feel lost and like there's nothing and like just so unclear and hopeless. I feel like that's a big word with this, and I feel like we're all gonna feel like that at some point. Like that's especially this time in like this life now, it sometimes feels so hopeless.
Think about being in the desert with one jug of water in moderation.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
I think this is a really important card for us, like as a collective, like
And these aren't easy times. It's not like these are the good old days where everybody's just happy and everybody's, I mean, we got all kinds of crazy pandemics and wars, and it's, you know, it's a hurricane out there.
Yeah. But we in Costa Rica.
But we, as healers and shamans and seekers, and those of us who really want to use our energy to heal, you know, we have to come on the outskirts to really be able to, it's like we're tuning forks. Nothing exists except light, frequency, and vibration. So when you're in the middle, in the thick of it, you're in that vibration. Sometimes you have to go out into the desert to really sync with your own vibration. And I feel like with all of us here at CoMA, we're learning how to synchronize and work together as empathic, sensitive healers. Yeah.
It's great to be in this space with people who understand, because that was something that I was worried about coming here. I really wanted to just be alone and not be around people. I felt like I couldn't deal with life that was around people. So it's like a good way to integrate doing my practices and stuff around people that are also very sensitive and understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me think of all the times we think we're stuck, but really we're just supposed to sit with the unknown and, like you said before, like have trust. Multiple times, many of us here in our group has gone through a moment of like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. What do I do? And instead of rushing it, we just got to sit with it and know that the answer will come when it's time, whether it's last minute or on time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like healing that. I feel like it's an inner child wound of wanting something stable, wanting a routine, and many of us not growing up with that.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up with life having to be rushed or planned or perfect and financially stable to do everything and stuff like that.
Tell us about your travels. You're going to be leaving soon. You don't know where you're going.
I know. I know.
Not having that
I
plan.
feel like
Yeah.
it's also an inner child thing, because like with a decision, like what should I do? Like at least as an inner child, it's like make the right decision. Like if you make this decision, this like just like so much pressure on making the right decision. If you make the wrong decision, something bad's gonna happen. Like I've really been learning you cannot make the wrong decision. Like there's no such thing as the wrong decision. Like maybe it might be like an undesirable outcome that you think you really desired, but like you make a decision and then that's your decision, and then the universe is working in your favor.
It's exactly
always.
what you needed to go through to learn
Yeah.
what you needed to learn, no matter what happens. I had to go through that every time I go to the States. I have this fear of, you know, the world shutting down again. I get stuck in the United States and I can't come home to CoMA. And that has always been a really big fear. But to drop that, it's been like, you know what? God's going to put me wherever I need to be. And if that's what happens, that's what needs to happen. And I just have to accept that, you know?
Yeah, it's like the universe is always working in your favor, like I said. And it's like a lot of times people don't, it's hard to trust, because it's like you're not really working together with the universe, or just how things, if you don't trust that things are happening as they're supposed to happen, then it will feel really wrong. You know, it can feel really wrong. And once you kind of working together with the universe, you'll know what to do more, I feel like. And it'll feel much more like if a decision is working with the planet, the universe, or if a decision is working against it, like you really feel it.
Yeah. Especially like for me, I like waiting for a full fuck yes. So my visa's ending this weekend, and so I gotta figure out where I need to go. And a friend I was supposed to travel with is not available right now, so it's like, where do I go? And there's no plan B, and should I just book a one-way ticket? I was thinking, like, should I even come back? Should I check out another country, or I don't know. So it's like I'm really
The
just
world
floating.
is at your fingertips.
Yeah, it's like all the options are mine. Which one's the best cookie? You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Yeah.
Like what she was saying, they're all good.
They're all good. And they're all exciting.
You don't
And,
think exactly
And they're all
which one you're gonna
like
pick.
end up leading you to the same place, kind of just being full and satisfied on cookies.
Mhm.
You're not even gonna remember. Like,
Always
you know.
grateful for them. Delicious
Mhm.
vegan cookies.
Mm.
Always grateful.
Yeah. Well, I want to express my gratitude for both of you being here, and I really literally threw this together. I mean, I did say it a couple days ago that we're going to start doing this. It was a download during MTV's, and I was like, oh my god, the map needs to move onto the YouTube platform. And then I just basically said, okay guys, we're doing this, we're doing a recording. And everybody's like, what?
And I'm like, she woke me up. I'm like, right
I
now.
did. I woke her up in the hammock, you were all snoozing and like, like time for MTV's.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out with the algorithms. You can check out all the stuff that I have available. Our website link is down below. I put links to our Patreon account that is really going to help us out. Please write what you think in the comments below. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And in love and light, don't forget food.
What? Coconut oil.
Coconut oil works too. The hojas.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Thank you for